Hello, welcome to another episode of Colivers Club, powered by Melon. I'm Ramon Sisole, and today we're interviewing David McNeil. David, we met him in the Social Club, a coliving in Chiang Mai, Thailand. He is the co-founder of this coliving.
Yeah, David has been a data nomad for some years now, and he wanted to have the same experience in Asia with colivings because he has been in a lot of colivings in Europe. So he decided to create a social club, coliving in Chiang Mai, with his partner. And now the coliving has been open for around 2 years. So he's a really interesting person to learn more about colivings in Asia.
Hope you guys enjoy. See you. Hi, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Colivers Club from Melon. Today I'm with David McNeil from the Social Club, and we are going to interview him about this amazing co-living in Chiang Mai. So, welcome, David.
Thank you. Yeah, thanks, Ramon. Good to be here.
Could you tell me a bit more about yourself? How have you ended up here?
Yeah, so I've been traveling for the last 6 years as a digital nomad. And so I did a lot of, when I first started traveling, I enjoyed it, but I got pretty lonely at some point, like after 6 months. So I discovered co living based on being by myself. I was in a country, I was by myself, hadn't met a lot of people, did some research, and I ended up staying at a co living place. And then I really liked it. So I was a customer of different co living places around Europe for a couple years before COVID. Then COVID hit, and then at some point, I, I usually traveled in Europe, but then I was traveling in Asia, and came to Chiang Mai, which I think is like the digital capital nomad of Asia. So I was surprised by that. There's so many restaurants and good coffee shops, good co-working, and I think I was at the stage where I wanted a base. I think everybody that travels a lot ends up wanting some sort of base to travel from. So Chiang Mai felt like a good place to settle down and make it my base to travel out of. And then at some point, I just started thinking about there's not a lot of co-living in Asia. I always struggled with that. Like I would always sit and look. I only knew of like two places, like Cohub and Hawaii were the only places I knew of that had co-living. So I was always like struggling to find co-living in Asia. And then I started thinking, okay, Chiang Mai would be an amazing base. It has everything anyone would need. And then at some point, I just woke up one day and I was like, why don't I start investigating doing co-living, more? And yeah, it was a pretty quick process. Once I decided to try it, I started taking it seriously and started looking at property. And then a couple months later, found a place and then opened the social club.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how long has been the social club open, more or less?
We opened April 7th of 2023. So it's been about 18 months at this point.
How it is running a co-living in a country that is...
Oh yeah. So for me it's been wonderful because I basically I created the place I want to stay at. So for me it feels like I'm a customer here. So it's like I have a good co-living place, a good base to come back to because I do still travel a lot. So for me, like Thailand is very easy to do business. I think there's so many foreigners. So, it's just you get the right people in place, the lawyers and the accountants and stuff. But yeah, running a business in Thailand has been nice, and the whole everything about it has been really pleasant and nothing so far. It's been really good.
That this started as an MVP. Like you guys wanted to have like a baby co-living and see how it works, more or less.
Yeah.
Why did you took this approach instead of like, okay, let's do a co-living from day one?
I don't really. I mean, we were going to do co-living from day one.
Okay.
So yeah, so it was always. I think probably like we thought about doing multiple locations,
Okay.
and this was kind of a proof of concept of. So I've traveled to like 44 countries. I lived in like a lot of those countries. My dream is to be able to stay in other countries.
Okay.
And so I've always had this idea, like I really enjoy this place, and wouldn't it be nice to have another location and then I can kind of rotate to.
Okay.
So like proof of concept of, we weren't sure, like I think co-living is something that is not a great business model. And so I think it's like if you have a really big passion for it, it's good to do, but you don't do it for like business decisions necessarily. So we wanted to make sure, like I've always been an entrepreneur, I've always had my own business. And I wanted to make sure like it wasn't going to be something too complicated that would be a disaster. But yeah, I do think that and we always thought it would be co-living, but I added a lot of things that I learned as a customer, and so I wasn't sure if people would like that or if they wouldn't like it. So it was kind of yeah, it was like kind of a test to see how people responded.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what do you think? So it was a proof of concept or test at the beginning. And what were the minimum things that this proof of concept needed to have?
So I think I'm not I'm not focused on money necessarily. Like I want to make enough money to live, but I also will not lose money. So I have my entrepreneurial pride that if the customer likes my product, I can make enough money to pay the bills, you know. So I think the proof of concept was about um like that people like it enough that it can not lose money, right? So that was probably the first thing. And also the style, like I implemented specific things that I had wanted as a customer. And so I think the proof of concept was, are other people the same as me? Are they going to like this style or is it totally different? So I had specific things that was really my personality. And so I wasn't sure. Like, for example, the name, the Social Club, that's to tell people the focus is social. Because I feel like for me as a customer, when I'm in a new country, I arrive someplace, I want to meet interesting people right away. Because if you go a week or two without meeting people, and if you're only there 3 or 4 weeks, then you kind of miss out on the connections. Like maybe you want to go to a temple with someone, you want to get a beer with someone. There's like good jazz clubs around here. It's more fun to go with a few people than by yourself. So I named it the Social Club because I felt like social is the key, one of the key aspects, but probably the key aspect would be the ability to socialize with people quickly.
And was that to make that ability a reality? Was it hard?
So it wasn't. It was surprisingly easy. So it's weird because I've done other businesses that have been so complicated. Like I'm doing one business right now. Like I sell on Amazon as my core business as I've traveled around the world. I think this was surprisingly easy, and I don't want to like give myself bad luck by saying that because maybe it's going to get hard like sometime in the future. But I think I was such a customer and I had such a passion for it. Like when I first went to co-living, it really changed my life. It just blew my mind. I was like, oh my God. And I thought, even though I was traveling and staying in co-living, I'm like, people need this concept in their home country. Like the society lacks the connection with a group of people, like the community, a tribe of people. So I think I was a customer for a long time and I had a clear idea of what I liked, what I would add to it. So subconsciously, I think I kind of developed the plan way before. So by the time I did it, I had a picture in my head, you know, like I had a really clear picture, and then it was just a matter of doing it.
Okay.
So yeah, it was very smooth, like surprisingly smooth. So,
okay.
Yeah.
I'm very interested. Like, what were the key things on that picture in your mind?
Okay, so I would say the first thing, like I said, was an emphasis on socialization, but not just drinking. Okay, so when I'm in Europe, if I stay at a co-living place, it's like I'm sleeping in a bunk bed, I'm bonding with people, we're going out drinking, and I always felt like it's like that's like a summer camp for adults, which is great. But it's like 1 month of that, I need a break for a month, and I'll go do Airbnb or something by myself or travel with someone I met. So I thought that if I did a good job, I would create events that were, if you want to drink, great, right? But it's not like you have to always go out drinking. Like we do game night, we do Muay Thai together, we do exercise together, we do like meditation together, yoga together. Depending on who's here, we kind of try and do events. But we also have like happy hour once a week. Like tonight, we're having beer pong, which is going to be, you know, like free drinks, but it's for people to meet each other. But then tomorrow we're doing an elephant dung paper making Thai event, you know. So it's like, so I tried to make the socialization not just based on alcohol. That was one of the key things. Also exercise. Whenever I traveled, I would get frustrated at co-living places because maybe the gym's far away, you know. So I'm feeling like co-living was kind of like a vacation that I needed a vacation from afterwards because I have to get back to exercise. So here we've always tried to implement. Right now we're doing yoga twice a week. We have Leo, a personal trainer from Brazil, who we've done twice a week for with him. We stopped recently because people weren't showing up. But there's a Muay Thai gym within 5 minute walk. There's an amazing gym, absolute gym. I picked the location based on I like to exercise. I need to exercise to be healthy. I want to have an emphasis on exercise here. So those are some of the things that I thought were really key for people to have a balanced life and improve themselves as they're traveling and doing co-living. And also the co-working rooms. I wanted to make it professional. People need disciplined. It's hard to motivate yourself. And if you sit in a bed or if you're like in a noisy co-working and you're working on a project, I mean, people are changing their location, changing their schedule. They need to enter into something they can just step into: work, exercise, socialization. So I tried to make the co-working space like really like best chairs, best Wi-Fi, quiet, pleasant environment with natural light so that people could really step in, work 8 hours if they need to.
Focus.
Yeah. So those are kind of I wanted to make it something where you can keep the best schedule possible, even though you're traveling and going different places.
Okay.
Anyway, I hope that answered your question. That was like a long.
No, but you gave me a lot of key points, so
Yeah.
I think it's a great answer.
Okay.
And actually, one of them was like trying to look for a place based on what you want, what events or what you want to provide to the community.
Yeah.
So do you look at how did you find this place? Do you look at for I want to have a gym close to, or
Absolutely. The gym was, for me, I would say gym was one of my top 3 things that I needed. The other thing is, I think Nomad district is where a lot of people like to go, but then you got the old town. So I wanted to be like equal distance between that. And also, I think most people, when they first come to Chiang Mai, they should stay within the old city walls. That's the ideal place to be. So I was looking within the old city walls. The gym definitely played a part of it. And also, I think the proximity to Neiman, which is one of the key areas people like to go out to. That was it. And also, I think a lot of Thai buildings are dark. They like to close the windows. They don't have ground space. So I think I walked every street in Chiang Mai, Old Town, several times, just looking at buildings, looking at what was available, looking at other styles. It was really hard to find a place that had big open spaces because people need a nice community. Like, you're in your room, you're in the co-working, all that, but you need a break. You need to come to a place where you're going to mingle with other people. You're going to sit and watch TV. That's hard to find in Thailand. Like, they don't have that. So this location was there was another location I fell in love with also, but it was like so expensive. I mean, people would pay like maybe 1,500 euros or 2,000 euros a month at that location. As a digital nomad, I'm very price conscious. So I wanted to keep some place where the price could be as low as possible. So that was the other factor is, so like looking at different places, there were a lot of reasons why I picked this place.
okay. So we can say that this is one of the first co-living in Thailand and in Chiang Mai, more or less.
Yeah. There's like, I think 3 or 4 right now. There's like, it's popping up. I see more and more popping up.
Okay.
But yeah, it's probably like number 3 in Chiang Mai.
And
Like-
how do you see the future of that? Like, do you think there's gonna be more, or is gonna reach a point that it's gonna be too much? For example, now in Chiang Mai specifically, there's already 3 or 4 like proper ones. So do you think it's gonna increase, or it's gonna?
So it's weird because as a customer, I saw the world one way, but as someone who opened a business, I see it a different way. I would say before I opened a place, I would have thought there's unlimited potential. Everyone's going to come to Chiang Mai. As a customer and talking to, I think we've had around 600 people come through so far. And talking to everyone, I realized there's a very specific type of person who looks for co-living and co-working. And so I do think there's a finite source of those people coming to Chiang Mai. So it changed. Like, I would have thought there would be like, oh, so many people. But now I'm like, no, it's a very specific kind of person. So I do think that it will grow, but I think that it's going to be based on, it's like remote working. It's up to the employers. The companies are going to decide how many people are able to travel and work. And I think that there's not as many people as I thought that have the ability to travel and work and live abroad and make their money and everything. So it kind of changed my perspective. I think there's a big potential, but it's a lot more specific than I thought before I became a business owner.
It's a niche inside a niche, the co-livings.
Yeah.
Need and nomads, there's
Yeah.
like a niche that want to go to co-living.
Yeah, it's a very like smaller group of people than I thought. But for us, I mean, we were full during busy season, and we're like halfway full right now. We have 40 rooms, which is big. I mean, for co-living, 40 rooms, like as a customer, I would have thought 40 rooms is like crazy. That's a huge amount. I always stayed in places less than 20. So we've been busy, but the future, I don't think, I personally wouldn't be opening places all over Chiang Mai because I think there is a specific amount of people that come here that would stay at co-living.
Okay, good. So that was super interesting. Now we're moving more towards the end of the chat, and we have some questions that we ask every interview. So the first one is, what does co-living means to you?
I think co-living for me is a sense of community. I think that it's like if you think about the places you've traveled, right? Your favorite places are probably based on the people you met. You have good memories, you met people, you connected, you enjoyed whatever you saw together. So I think co-living for me is all about stepping into a new place and being able to meet like-minded people that you can connect with.
Thank you very much for this time. I really enjoyed it.
Okay, thanks, Ramon.
And thank you guys for listening. Hope you enjoyed it. Cheers.